Okay, this is the next lesson on the business model canvas, and in this lesson we're starting to look at the value proposition. And the value proposition is a big fancy name for what are we offering to our customers? What are we promising to deliver to our customers that is going to change their lives and implicitly make it better in some way, shape or form? So there are 4 questions. What value do we create? Now, a product or service that doesn't create any value isn't great for a customer. So you need to be really clear about what is the value that is created. Now, in some ways you can say that what is the benefit or what are the benefits to the customer. But I think in many ways value is larger than that, because quite often when we talk about features and benefits, we're talking very specifically about the product or service that you're selling. Whereas for the customer, there is a need, there is a problem that they require solving, and that needs value from you. And that is quite often larger than the simple product or feature. So, for example, if you're, say, looking at education and children's schooling, what you may sell as a school or a teacher are maths lessons. The value that you're providing, though, is something more akin to hope or opportunity, because a maths lesson has no real value in itself. It's what it enables, what it allows the child to then go on and do. So this is what we're really talking about when we look at value. The value proposition also asks the question, what problems are we solving? Now, it's amazing. There are a huge number of startups and entrepreneurs out there who have an idea that they want to do something, but they aren't then clear on the problem that it actually solves. It's quite often they will have an idea, I want to make this, and then they go out and do it. The classic example of this is Kevin Costner in the Field of Dreams. He has this vision that he's going to go out and he's going to build a baseball field in the middle of nowhere. And he does it. And then it's like, well, who's going to play there? Who's going to come and watch that? How are you going to make money? And so when you manage to tie the value proposition down to a real specific problem that customers have and that they need solved, that they're prepared to pay money to have solved, then your business model is in a lot stronger place. The next question we ask is, what needs are we satisfying? Now, needs in the broad hierarchy, they're a little bit further down than the problem, and you're looking at what does somebody need to have done. I mean, one good way of looking at this is to look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where you start at the bottom of a pyramid, and at the bottom you've got food and shelter, and then you work up through successive levels until right at the top you've got self-actualization. And being clear about the need that you're trying to fulfill then makes your value proposition a lot stronger. So if you're trying to fulfill a need for the customer's got a need for self-actualization, and you're trying to sell them rice and water, which meet very different needs, your value proposition is not very strong. If you're selling them a whole series of yoga videos with worksheets and dynamic growth support, then you're able to meet their need for self-actualization a lot better. So being very clear about the needs of the customers and how your value proposition solves them is absolutely critical. And then the important thing for all this is your value proposition is fundamentally a bundle of products and services that you put together. Yeah, you want just enough in there to meet the customer's requirements, because then they're happy, but you want no extra, because otherwise you're wasting resources either in time or money in putting them into the value proposition. A good example of this bundling is somebody like Rolls-Royce. They're a maker of aeroplane engines, and the product that they sell to the airlines is the engine that goes on the plane wing. The service that they sell is looking after the engine for the whole of its working life and promising that it's only going to fail for 1 minute out of every 1,000 hours of flying time, something like that. And that is the whole value proposition. You can't buy the service package by itself. You can't buy the engine by itself. The whole thing comes together, and that is a very, very clear value proposition. And it means that the airlines get reliable flight, which they're able to outsource almost totally, because they don't have to worry about the engines or any of the maintenance, and that cuts their capital costs. And that's a very, very powerful value proposition to the airlines. So the value proposition is important because at its bluntest, it is the reason why people will choose to buy from you, or they'll choose to buy from somebody else. The value that you provide to your customer is the reason why you will stay in business. And that needs to be a little bit more nuanced. Because sometimes it is purely the value that you're providing, other times it is the perception of the value. And that is the difference between taking a product, here is a product, this is great, drink it and it will keep you awake and allow you to do more work. That's quite a good value proposition. Or here, let me get it, here is a can of Coke. Coke makes your days better. It keeps you going. It means you have more friends, and there's a whole branding, marketing, value perception of relationship with the can of Coke. So you need to be clear about the value that you're providing and how customers perceive that value. Both are important. So to sum up, the value proposition solves a problem or a need for the customer. It does a good job. The VP is a bundle of products and services that you formulate, you put together a little bit like an alchemist or a witch doctor, getting little bits from here and there. You put it together in a recipe that makes a difference to the customer. And the trick is getting the right mix and being able to assemble the mix at the right cost. Often for entrepreneurs, we're looking to find a value proposition that is disruptive. And sometimes it may be the bundle of products and services that is disruptive. So for example, a Tesla car, the electricity, the electric motor is disruptive because it changes a lot of the dynamics of the economics of car ownership. Or it can be the business model that is disruptive, with much more like Uber, where the cars remain petrol driven, but the ownership is actually very different. You don't need to own the car, somebody else owns the car and does your driving for you. And presumably in the longer term with ride sharing companies, etc., the driver will go and you'll have an AI, artificial intelligence, driving the car, which is then another disruptive shift. So it's thinking about where do you find the disruption in your business model. And then the most important thing of all is, can your value proposition meet market expectations? And there's a very extensive literature on on this over the years of what does the market demand from a product. I mean, if you're looking at, say, cars back in the 1970s, the market demanded a car that didn't break down. Then you got electric windows. Then you got car heaters in the winter. Then you got stereos and CD players. Then you got inbuilt GPS systems. And slowly the bar of what the market demands is slowly rising for your product. And so your product or your service, your value proposition needs to meet those market expectations. So I hope I've given you a lot to think about in this little session. The value proposition design is a subject all of itself, and we'll be doing a course on that in due course. But the most important thing to think about is how can I build something that my customers are going to love, that is going to be remarkable. So how do you do it? Very much, you put down all your ideas for the value proposition. Often this can be 10, 20, 30 ideas, yeah? And then prune those out. What are the 3 most important things that you've identified as being part of your value proposition, and putting those in. You need to make sure that your value proposition matches up to your customer segment. So if we look at, say, Google, if we were doing a value proposition for Google, we'd be saying, okay, what is the value proposition that the search customers need? And they need fast answers to their questions. They also need accurate answers to the questions, and they also need reliable or authority sites that you're directing them to. It's probably those 3 things are at the core of the Google value proposition for search customers. For advertising customers, the important things are, okay, am I getting good people coming through to my website when they click on my adverts? Yeah, is the quality of the customer any good? Secondly, am I getting a good return on investment from those customers? And 3, is there a reliable, clear way of repeating or scaling this process so I know that I'm going to be able to continually generate customers in this way? So making sure that we are matching up the value proposition to each of the customer segments is important. Like all the other boxes, it is iterative. Your first attempt will be okay. You go out, you test it, you try it out, you come back, you see what people say, you iterate again. But it gives you a strong and a firm foundation for where you go next. So to reiterate, what the value proposition does is it identifies the value that you provide for your customers, and it tells the world how you solve your customers' problems. If you've got any comments or questions, please ask them in the comments box below, and do send us copies of your business model canvas, and we can see how you're getting on. So good luck with the exercise today, and speak to you soon.